Calyrex Shadow Rider has once again won a regional tournament. It won the Bologna special event, and there were two Calyrex Shadow Rider in top 8. So I wanted to talk about that, so let's get into the discussion. So, at the beginning of the format, everyone thought that Calyrex Shadow Rider was broken. It obviously has Astral Barrage, which is a 120 base power move with 100% accuracy with no drawbacks. And it hits both targets, which is really, really good. People thought, oh, it's broken, it's going to wash everything. And then what happened was the first regional roll around, and we had Miraidon win the first regional. And then we had the second regional come around, and we had Zamazenta win. So everyone thought that Calyrex Shadow Rider had fallen off, because people were finding ways to counter it. Incineroar was there, Urshifu Dark was there. But recently, there's been a surge in Calyrex Shadow Rider. And why is that? Well, the reason why is because now people are figuring out that if you run a bulky Calyrex with Citrus Berry, and you run it with support options like Clefairy, for example. Clefairy is very popular. You run it with Clefairy, you run it with Protect, and you run it with Draining Kiss and Nasty Plot. It is very, very hard to take down this team. Because what happens is, Calyrex is a Pokemon that's really good at beating its natural counters whenever it's paired with the right Pokemon. So you put it with Urshifu Rapid Strike and Clefairy, and now suddenly you're beating all of the teams which were supposed to hard counter you. Like, Terapagos is supposed to hard counter Calyrex, but now you've got Urshifu on your side. You put a Choice Scarf on it, or you can put a Focus Sash on it, or something like that, right? And what happens is, you lead the Calyrex, you get your Nasty Plot off, you can Draining Kiss, and then have, like, if your Calyrex is faster than your Urshifu, Draining Kiss into close combat will almost always KO any Terapagos without Intimidate support or something on the Terapagos' side. So now, even though you can't hit it with Astral Barrage, you're still getting that consistent damage across with the Draining Kiss, and you're taking back your health. And with Clefairy there, with Follow Me and Friend Guard, it doesn't matter how, like Terapagos will need to set up a lot of Calm Minds just to break that Calyrex. And Terra Stellar Starstorm is still very good. I mean, obviously we have like 3 different Terapagos inside of top 8, so Terapagos is a very good Pokemon, but Terapagos can be played around very well. Like, if you go back and you watch any of the rounds in the Bologna special event where you had Terapagos into Calyrex, the Calyrex player would just lead Calyrex, get that Nasty Plot going, and once they got that Nasty Plot going, they'd have a strong physical attacker like Urshifu in the back, and just hit it with Close Combat, and Close Combat will just almost always KO, and you have Sing as well, and Follow Me. So, like, if for example, if Terapagos does not Terra, then you can just Follow Me away that Terra Starstorm, and Clefairy with Eviolite can get super bulky. It's gotten so crazy now that I think Clefairy was at 30% usage or something like that. Like, it was at 30% usage. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, look at that, 29% usage for Clefairy. And Rillaboom's also there. Rillaboom is actually, surprisingly, I think that Terapagos Rillaboom is a better counter than maybe Terapagos Incineroar for Calyrex. And that's because Rillaboom will always be able to live at least one Astral Barrage if it's not terrestrialized. Like, if Calyrex isn't terrestrialized, and just hit it back with Woodhammer. But the thing is, once that Calyrex gets that +2 boost, we start seeing crazy things happening. We start seeing it like Oko Rillaboom with Astral Barrage. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. This Pokemon is just out of control. With that Citrus Berry, it's like, okay, now you have an opposing Urshifu Rapid Strike. You run bulky with Citrus Berry, and now that Calyrex Shadow is always guaranteed to live. You run it with Terra Fairy, so it's guaranteed to live like all those Dark type moves, right? So, like, now it's like, okay, well, oh, you have Landorus with Sludge Bomb, obviously, right? But, well, the thing is, you got landed for Sludge Bomb, and that Sludge Bomb, it's not going to go first, and you're going to be redirected by Clefairy. So, like, you have so many options to set up this Calyrex. You have such strong support tools in the Clefairy. You can even run like double redirection with Ogre Pawn, Cornerstone. You can run Fake Out. You can run double Fake Out. There's just so many things you can do. Like, look at this. You've got double Fake Out with Mian Xiao and Rillaboom, and you have Feint in case they want to protect themselves from Astral Barrage. Wide Guard for opposing Astral Barrage. I think this team is going to be very standard going into like Worlds and NAIC. Actually, you have Chi-Yu to boost your offensive capabilities, and you honestly don't even need that much physical attackers. Like, look at this: 1, 2, 3 special attackers and only 2 physical attackers. Cause what's Mian Xiao's role? Mian Xiao is there. Just Calyrex sets up for Mian Xiao, and then Mian Xiao just dunks on the opposing Terrapagos player with close combat, and you saw Ruben do that during the top 8 matches. Miraidon obviously is really, really good, and Electro Drift is good. You might think, oh, well, now you're really afraid of Miraidon, but you've got the Rillaboom back there. You've got that Chi-Yu, which can do consistent damage into Miraidon, right? And you have close combat. And Mian Xiao can do Fake Out the Miraidon, right? There's other things you can do. You can set up Tailwind. You're pretty much just always going to be faster than Miraidon naturally, and even if you're not, you can set up the Tailwind and get a boost, and boosted Astral Barrage is going to be KOing basically everything that's not Chi-Yu and Farigiraf here, right? So, like, you see this team just sweeps through so many other teams. The only other team that might be doing good into this team in this top 8 is another Calyrex team. Because if you look at the tools that the other teams have to handle it, like, Kyogre can't really handle Calyrex Shadow Rider. Like, this team was really good. You had the Serena, you had the Tailwind on Iron Douglas, but priority Tailwind's just always going to be better. They're always going to be getting that consistent Astral Barrage into you. Now Water Spout's doing less damage to you. You get off the Terra Fairy, and, like, basically there's nothing to stop. Like, you need a Wide Guard Mon on all these teams, and basically, like, no Wide Guard, no Wide Guard, no Wide Guard, no Wide Guard, no Wide Guard. And so there's nothing to stop the Astral Barrage, and even if you Terra, well, now Draining Kiss is going to hit you pretty hard after a few boosts and a few Grimnay boosts. So, like, it's going to be very hard to deal with. Everyone was like, oh, like, Calyrex Shadow is washed, and they stopped preparing for it. And because they stopped preparing for it, now it's just running over the entire format. So we're going to have to see some adaptations. Because now, like, this Pokemon is just like a nightmare to deal with. Like, you can probably run this with 244, special attack, maybe run it with like 116. I don't know, I'm just spitballing numbers here. 148, run something like this maybe, I don't know. Once again, with EVs and IVs, I'm not that good, but, like, look at this set. This has so much potential. So we see that, and then we see this, like, I remember that Moxie Booster was talking about this. There's this pattern, right? So it was Miraidon was really good, right? Miraidon was really good. Everyone adapted to it. Now Zamazenta is really good. Everyone adapted to that because we had Shadow Rider, which beats both of them, right? Now we have Calyrex Ice, which is the only Pokemon that hasn't won, that people were thinking was going to win. So that might come through, but I think that this Pokemon is just so cracked. Like, you put this alongside good offense, and there's not much you can do. You really have to have something like that Farigiraf on every team, like that Wide Guard Mian Xiao on every team to, like, oppose that Astral Barrage. And even if you have a normal type, well, you can just pair that Ghost and Fighting, and Ghost and Fighting is just insane coverage. So we're going to have to see some strong adaptations from other people. Now, I want to quickly discuss some of the other usage stats Rillaboom at 50% is wild. But I think that this Pokemon is probably one of the best, if not the best, runners right now. And Incineroar is right there. But why do I think Rillaboom is the best runners right now? Well, the thing is, you have Fake Out, you have really strong Wood Hammer, and you do well into basically every special restricted, basically. You do well into it. Like, you do well into Miraidon, you do well into Lunala, you do well into Calyrex Shadow Rider. You don't do well into Zamazenta or Ice Rider, but look at how many Zamazentas and Ice Riders there are. There's only one Zamazenta here. So look at this. Rillaboom, 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 Rillaboom. Like, this is basically like 6 teams out of the top 8 having Rillaboom. And that's like as many as there are Incineroar. Because you just pair that with Incineroar, now you've got that Assault Vest, you've got the Assault Vest Rillaboom beside Incineroar to threaten other Calyrexes, and it's just really good on Calyrex teams, it's good on Terrapagos teams. Like, I think that, and you've got Stomping Tantrum, you've got U-Turn, there's so many ways you can play this Pokemon, and having that Grassy Surge to shut off Miraidon, and having that Grass typing to resist Miraidon is just really, really useful in this format. Like, I think that this is becoming the top Miraidon counter now is Rillaboom, because it's just so consistent overall. Because, yeah, they can pivot, but you can pivot right back. So that's going to be really important going into NAIC. I want to quickly go over some of the other teams, and like the rise of Iron Hands is also interesting. Now Iron Hands is sitting at 13% usage in day 2, and day 1 I think was at 13% usage as well. So that's pretty interesting. Assault Vest Iron Hands is really good because you got that Fake Out, but you also get that attack boost. So like, let's say you're sitting up against a Shadow Rider Calyrex, you Terra Grass. Now you can hit that thing with Wild Charge, and like if you have Chi-Yu, right, now you can force the Calyrex to Terra and maybe hit it with a Heavy Slam, and that's a really good line into that Calyrex. And then you've got Dark type Urshifu with a Wicked Blow. So I think that on some of the Miraidon balance teams to beat the Calyrexes, I think Iron Hands is going to start showing up more, because it's just really good into the mirror, and it's also good into that, and it's a very bulky mon. Like the same way that Rillaboom is bulky, Iron Hands is also bulky. So I think that's going to start showing up a lot more personally. Draco Meteor, Discharge, Volt Switch is the standard Rajan set. Terra Ground, Terra Blast is there to beat the mirror. Now we have that standard Focus Sash Urshifu, we have a standard Terra Grass Iron Hands. Light Screen on Whimsicott's really good. Unfortunately, in this tournament, somebody crit through the right light screen, which is super funny, but also super sad, but it happens. Psychic Noise is really good into Terrapagos, because now Terrapagos can't heal with grassy terrain, it can't heal with leftovers, so I think Psychic Noise is going to see a little bit of a niche usage, but it's really good. This Zamazenta team is the standard Body Press Heavy Slam Iron Defense with a Terra Grass. Terra Grass is not optimal because you still retain that fire weakness, and now Chi-Yu's on the rise. Like, we see 2 Chi-Yu's on this, right? But at the same time, you kind of need it for Amoonguss. Like, you really feel like you need it for Amoonguss, so I can understand why. Because Amoonguss is really bad into Zamazenta. Like, you Rage Powder away the Body Press and Heavy Slam, it takes Chip, so you kind of need that Terra Grass. And I think there will be a more optimal Terra for Zamazenta going on down the line, but we'll have to see a better team to develop that. We see a standard Weather Ball Wide Guard for that Calyrex matchup. Knockoff Parting Shot, very strange taunt on Incineroar, probably to another thing to handle Amoonguss, another tech to handle Amoonguss, but it can also shut down Trick Room from Fergraph and stuff. Like, this team doesn't really have too many Trick Room counters, so I feel like you need that taunt really to counter that. Standard Rillaboom, Terra Grass, probably to be boosted alongside that Qianpao, like to kind of just go through everything. So the Qianpao is really there to enable all these strong physical attackers. Like, with the 4 physical attackers you have, you can cycle in and out, but you can just apply really consistent pressure, and Body Press is really strong out the gate, right? For the Terrapagos teams, let's discuss those. So, Terapagos with Terra Stellar is really consistent. This Calm Malian site is really good because you can get it up and running with stuff like Rillaboom and Incineroar to fake out other Pokemon. You get one Calm Mind off. Now Terra Starstorm is sweeping through like a lot of teams. And if you feel really threatened by, let's say, like a close combat or something, then you can bait it out, switch into something like the Raging Bolt or something, and or switch into the Screamtail. Like you have Screamtail in the back, you bait out a close combat, and then you disable the close combat, put in Terapagos the next turn, and now you Terra Stellar. So I think that this team takes a lot of skill power to willpower and brain power to play, but it's very interesting, and I can't wait to see more of Screamtail in the future. Once again, the Terra Grass for the Amoonguss. We didn't really see too much Amoonguss. Like, there's no Amoonguss in top 8, but I'm guessing there's more Amoonguss. Like, Amoonguss here, Amoonguss. There's Amoonguss in top 32. Like, it's still a very threatening Pokemon. And you want to survive maybe some of the other moves like Surging Strikes from opposing Earthly Rapid Strike. So I can see Terra Grass being good Terra type for a Screamtail, good neutral Terra type. Rillaboom with Terra Fire is pretty good. Now you are pretty good into opposing Rillaboom U-turn. You're a lot better into Flutter Mane. You're better into Koraidon. Which we didn't see at all during this top 8, but it was there in top 16, piloted by Alessandro Tuzzi. Wow, look at that Golden Gill and Koraidon team. That's interesting. Urshifu Rapid Strike, Raging Bolt with 3 attacks and Magnet. Raging Bolt is also another strong Pokemon, with that Draco Meteor being really good into opposing Miraidon and also opposing Calyrex, because I've seen it sick on the field and just stick there, attack opposing Calyrex with the Draco Meteor, and now you're putting it down to like really low health, where it can be picked off by that Urshifu Rapid Strike. So this team is pretty fast. It doesn't have like speed control mode really, but you have the double fake out and you have the speed with Urshifu Rapid Strike. So basically, like all these mons kind of open up the Terapagos counters, taking a lot of damage, and then you've got Terapagos in the back, which kind of heals, gets set up, and sweeps in the end game kind of thing, right? Now we also have the other Cali Shadow team. I really like Thundurus. Thundurus is very good. Eerie Impulse with Covert Cloak and Taunt. No Thunder Wave actually on this team. We have instead Rain Dance to support that Urshifu Rapid Strike. And I think it doesn't even have like it's got this after you to counter opposing Trick Room, but no Tailwind really once again. But like you don't need it, right? Because like once again with the other team, with the Terapagos team, the goal of this team is just to weaken the other team enough to allow Calyrex Shadow to sweep in the end and to protect it really well, right? Here we have a Terapagos team. Once again, no speed control. You allow the restricted to set up and sweep in the end. Like we see a pattern of these really bulky teams rising up now in the meta. Now that it's shaping up, and this one had speed control, right? And no setup. But like there's a lot of really bulky teams going around now with options to just neuter the other restricted's offense you have. It's really interesting that you can use that to just set up for yourself. Again, another Magnet team with the same setup here, right? So I think this is like, yeah, basically a mirror. Yeah, another Terapagos, like same Terapagos. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the bulky meta develops in the future. But I'm sure that there'll be more bulky teams. This one, this one has also no speed control. So we've been seeing like a fall in speed control, like Tornadus. There's only 2 Tornadus here, and there's 1 Tornadus on the winning team, I guess. But bulky is really good in this meta. and I think that we're going to see more bulky as it goes on. But look at all those Shadow Riders and pretty good results. Lunala is a mon that I think I really like a lot. Having that setup with the Trick Room and then having Ursulina in the back, I think that this could be a good counter to Calyrex, because there's very few ways to get that Trick Room, like, to stop it from shutting up. Yawn Fisher Dondozo, this is actually really interesting. I actually did this on my showdown teams, like with support, Light Screen, and Reflect to keep Dondozo living longer. I think this could be really interesting as well, because this can stop, like, now Calyrex has to respect this Dondozo. Like, it can boost all it wants, but it'll get put to sleep. You have the knockoff and the Wicked Blow to threaten the Calyrex and force it to Terra, and then now you have Yawn, right? So you Yawn it, and once it's a fairy type, it can be yawned, it can be hit with Ivy Cudgel. So there's some really interesting options you have in the meta. I want to quickly talk about this team as well, because I'm really interested in what the thought process was behind this. Terra Normal Golden Go. Okay, yeah. So they probably had this as something to counter all of the Calyrex going around, and you might think, well, why Golden Go to counter Calyrex? Well, the thing is, now you have that knockoff once again. You force the Calyrex. Basically, the line into Calyrex Shadow is you force it to Terra, and then you hit it with a strong super effective move or a strong neutral move like Flare Blitz. And that's really good. So you might be seeing Calyrex Shadow paired with Caliber a lot more, and other like strong redirection. Like that Clefairy is just like super carrying a lot of these teams. And look at this, Clefairy. Just the champ, man. Just follow me, redirect away, and now you can set up really safely, or just stay alive long enough to offensively outmaneuver like the rest of the Pokemon over there, right? Maybe force a Terra from Golden Go and then hit it with a Draining Kiss, which is now neutral into it instead of resisted. So yeah, hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more Koraidon, because I actually like playing Koraidon balance a lot. We see actually 2 Golden Goes with Koraidon in the top 32, which is really crazy, because now you're taking more damage from fire yourself. But I think that it can be interesting. King Gambit, I thought this was always going to be a really good Pokemon, but it actually fell off quite a bit. Catalcleave and Ironhead are still really good, but the thing is, now that you have Urshifu in the meta, now you have Koraidon in the meta, now you have Miraidon in the meta, there's so many mons that, like, if they can't outright kill it, they can damage it enough that, like, it makes King Gambit's life very, very difficult. So King Gambit, I think it can see success on the right teams, but you really need the good support to see it have success, which I really want to see in the future. But yeah, Lunala is really cool, underrated. Shadow Rider, a lot of Shadow Rider teams along with that balance mode with Mian Shao. Ting Lu, actually really interesting on this Calyrex Ice Rider team. Yeah, reducing the damage. A lot of bulky teams, some support Pokemon obviously coming around, but we're going to be seeing how this meta develops. I wouldn't be surprised if the next tournament we see Terrapagos win, because with this many strong results, I think they can do it, but you need to really have a good mentality and good matchup knowledge, because you want to tear the Terrapagos, but sometimes you have to tear the other mons, and that's the biggest weakness of Terrapagos teams. Once Terrapagos gets around that weakness, I think it's going to become insanely good, but we'll have to see how that develops. So that's the video for today, guys. Let me know if you liked it or anything else you'd like to see more, and please like, comment, and subscribe in the future. Alright, so yeah, bye.